So, what I wanted to do today and for the next couple episodes is just talk a little bit explaining about what is Chinese medicine, because on this show, we frequently talk about diseases and how it occurs in Chinese medicine and some of the treatment options, especially with herbal options. But we've never really stopped and talked about what is Chinese medicine. And it's something that most people are not really familiar with. And so, what I'm going to do is just break down a little bit different aspects of Chinese medicine and how it differs from Western medicine. So, just to give a historical perspective, Chinese medicine has been around for probably over 2,000 years. The earliest text from Chinese medicine is the Huangdi Neijing. This is considered kind of the first classical text in Chinese medicine. And that book was written, we're not sure on the exact dates, but it could be around 200 BC. So we're looking at something that's over 2,000 years old at this point. That was kind of the first text that laid out most of the early principles of Chinese medicine and kind of like the first foundational text from where the ideas came from. Then, when you get to about 200 AD, you get the Shanghan Lun, which is translated means the treatise on cold disease. And the Shanghan Lun was a seismic book in Chinese medicine because it laid out the six-stage uh, pattern differentiation in Chinese medicine, and it really kind of gave a systematic approach to thinking about Chinese medicine. So many of the most important formulas in Chinese medicine history have come from the Shanghan Lun. And that was a important text in really kind of systematizing and characterizing Chinese medicine as a cohesive way of looking at disease. Just like in Western medicine, we take for granted kind of how we look at diseases, but we don't really realize that ideas of Western medicine that were based on microbiology, that are based on pathology, um, a lot of these things are built on another underlying layer of science and empiricism and an entire worldview that comes from that. And similarly, in Chinese medicine, the ideas that it originated from have shaped what it is today. And the Huangdi Neijing and the Shanghan Lun were two of the earliest books. Now, Shanghan Lun is the treatise on cold disease. And then as time progresses, and you come farther and farther, and more recently into the Chinese medicine, then there's the development of warm pathogen disease, Wenbing, and the Wenbing masters, and many other commentaries are written on these classical texts that help to further develop the medicine and the knowledge. And so Western medicine is, in a way, relatively younger compared to Chinese medicine because in Chinese medicine, these principles have been around for 2,000 years plus, and it's been refined and thought of and challenged in different ways and more systematized. And also, things were discovered along the way in response to different conditions, in response to pandemics that occurred, ideas of physicians that came along the way that really shaped the way Chinese medicine thinks. The big picture in Chinese medicine, when you consider diseases, is to think about yin and yang. Essentially, in Chinese medicine, um, all health results from a balance, a proper balance of the yin and the yang in the body. And you can kind of consider those as two dual natures. And it's not just limited to human physiology, but in a um, Eastern perspective, it's present in nature as well. There's a dual um, nature to things. There is a yin nature to things, which is more slow and substantive and cool and and sedentary. And then there is a yang nature to things, which is a nature of dynamism and movement and warmth and uh, change. And all things have a nature of yin and yang to them. And within each nature, there it can be further separated into further yin nature and further yang nature. The two ways that this manifests in a big picture physiologically in Chinese medicine is with the qi and the blood. And the qi and the blood are kind of the representative entities of yin and yang in human physiology. And the blood is the substance of the body. It's the nutritive substance. It's the life-giving substance that flows throughout the body. And it does share similarities with how we think about blood in Western medicine, but it's not the same thing. Blood has a much broader um, use and a much broader meaning in Chinese medicine. Sometimes I have patients and I tell them you have deficiency in your blood, and they tell me, well, oh, I just went and got a CBC done and my hemoglobin is normal. I don't know. No one's ever told me I have anemia. And I try to explain that just because you have a blood deficiency in Chinese medicine doesn't mean you have anemia. You're not going to necessarily go out and find a low hemoglobin. It's not an exact correlation. We use those terms translated um, to represent the idea, but it's not the same thing. But in general, in Chinese medicine, the blood is a yin substance. It is nutritive, it flows throughout the body, and it is a life giving substance. Um, then you have the qi, which is the energy, and the qi and the blood go together throughout the body. So there's a movement in the blood itself, which is the qi. And the qi is not just limited to the blood. The qi is the energy of the blood and of the organ systems. Each of the organ systems in Chinese medicine have a pathway that they flow throughout the body, and the energy of each of the organ systems or the qi flows throughout the body, and that's what gives us um, all of the different physiological functions that we have: the ability to move, the ability to digest, to breathe, the pumping of our hearts, the ability to speak, to take in vision, to grow hair. Everything is from the qi of the organ systems in the body. So both the qi and the blood originate and are the physiologic representations of yin and yang in the human body. And so that's a little bit about just yin, yang, qi, and blood, and some of the core tenets of Chinese medicine. And next time, I'll talk a little bit about the organ systems and what they represent in Chinese medicine. And so, over the next few days, we'll get a little bit more handle of what is meant by Chinese medicine. And then I'll finish it off talking about some of the different modalities of Chinese medicine. Okay. And thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.